On the show today, we talk about shamanism and soul loss, or rather, Susan talks about it and we learn. Our symbol today is Canada, and you're all wondering what that means now. And as always, we interpret the dreams you sent in during the week. Welcome to So You Think You're Awake, the show about dreams and their meanings. I'm Michael Sheridan, and with me in studio is Heidi Brooke, our resident medium, and Susan Pullen, healer, life coach, and spiritual teacher. Do you notice I always juggle around your ability?
Yes, I have noticed that.
Yeah. It's because we can't pin you down. Thanks to everyone who sent dreams to RadioShow at dreamanalysis.com. Please continue to send them in, as we always need them for the show. This is our first show this year, so Happy New Year to you. Did you make any resolutions 7 days in? Are you still sticking to them? Resolutions have a group energy, so you're better off starting your resolution on your birthday or a few days away from the herd. If you struggle and fall, just wait about 10 days and start again. You're far more likely to succeed because you're starting from a more aware place and not connected to group energy. We have 2 new spiritual development courses we will discuss later on the show as well. And also, I have to say thanks to everybody who sent condolences on the passing of my mom and Heidi's grandmother. We do sincerely appreciate that. So what else have we got? You can always jump the queue and call us on 425-373-5527, and we will analyse your dream, connect with your guides for advice, or provide life coaching advice. We'll be talking about shamanism and soul loss after the break. But right now we're going to have a look at dreams. Or before that, Susan, did you even want to discuss the course you've got coming up this weekend?
Yeah, I've got a course coming up this weekend called Lightening Up, Reclaiming Your Wholeness, Power, and Vitality, and I'm super excited about it. I have a few spots open left, and we're going to be doing some healing practices. I'll be teaching you some things you can do on your own. And then we'll be doing some work in the group. And like you mentioned, the group energy, doing healing work in a group can be super effective for people. It really brings up the energy and can help things move along in a way that it's much harder to do on your own.
So when you say healing, what type of healing are you talking about in that group?
So we're going to be doing a lot of clearing work, and then...
clearing what? Oh, it's the mood I'm in today. Clearing everything. Yeah. That really narrows it down for me.
Let's see. Family line issues, working with resistance, which it's not exactly clearing, but, when there are 2 parts of you that want to go in different directions. Let's see.
Like me towards the altar on October 17th.
And then we'll be doing some work around soul loss, like bringing back more parts of yourself and getting them all going in the same direction, so you have more energy for your life and more of a vision.
So the part of you that wants to get up and do something will become stronger than the part of you that wants to sit on the couch and watch a rerun.
Yes, okay. Exactly.
Excellent.
Exactly. Yep.
And what's it cost?
It's $295 now. Yep.
For 2 days? 2
days. Yep. 2 full days. It's going to be a very full weekend.
Okay. And do people come out feeling energized after that, or is it really set a spark for them to do something different in their lives? I mean, what would be the best way to describe how you feel at the end of it?
I think, we're gonna do some. It will be lively and I think have some fun to it as well. So I think it will be very energizing and uplifting for people. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I really put you on the spot there.
In a lasting way, because we're going to do the clearing work first. So it's not just like a quick fix kind of a thing.
No, but clearing, that's very lasting, definitely. So if you're looking at issues that hold you back and you fix them, you get benefit all around for a long time to come.
Yeah.
Till you decide to pick that issue up again, if you do.
Yep.
Some of us do.
Okay,
so will we have a look at some dreams?
Okay, I have one here. Starts out, I was driving on the freeway heading to the Linwood Babies R Us store. I really wanted to buy some clothes for the baby I'm expecting, and I knew it needed to be brand new. In reality, I have bought mostly secondhand items. I plugged in the destination to the navigator and set off on my journey. The sea could be seen from the freeway during most of my journey. Some time passed and I realized I had somehow missed my exit.
Okay, let's stop there for a second. So the new baby clothes are about a new attitude, because clothes are about an attitude. So a new attitude or role to override one picked up in childhood, in your own childhood. And it's important for your own baby that's coming in now. But expecting a baby in a dream is typically going to be about a new you about to be born, or a new aspect of you about to be born, something that's always positive, always, always, always positive. But because that's also reality for the dreamer, it doesn't have to mean that, but in this dream it does, because we can clearly see changes taking place in this dream. So the navigator, that's another thing. We get that very rarely on the show. That symbolizes that the dreamer has the ability to give people direction, because that's what a navigator does, and you're everything in a dream. Is that the word that people use over here? I've always struggled to find...
Navigator?
Yeah.
A GPS?
Yes, that you have in your car that tells you turns to take. Okay, perfect. All right, so continue on.
It was a strange sensation, and I had driven miles ahead from where I had originally planned to exit. I wasn't entirely sure if I blacked out or if I fell asleep at the wheel. I told my father, who had called, I must have fell asleep and missed the exit. I was contemplating turning around, but the navigator recalculated the next Babies R Us store, and it wasn't too much farther, maybe 1.12 miles.
I love that. 1.12 miles, Spock sent in a dream. So it's interesting there. So she said some time had passed and she realised that she'd somehow missed her exit. And this is just about, this dreamer would tell you herself, she had been contemplating cutting the ties with her mom for some time, and she didn't do it. And then nearly a year later, she thought, okay, you know what, I'm going to do it now. And that's what this dream is about. And that's what missing the first exit is about. But here we find that, have we got to that far in the dream? Anyway, it's not a problem, because she's going to go to the next baby or us. And it's true with almost anything our dreams ever point out. Almost, I say almost, so you can't always take this to be true. That we get many opportunities to do the same thing over and over again. So we'll be reminded of, again and again, this is something you need to do in your life, and it's very important. Please do it now. But if you don't do it, I'm going to keep at you and keep creating opportunities for you to do it.
Michael, I think it's not just true in our dreams. It's true in our waking life too. Right?
Well, that's what I mean. It's true in waking life,
yeah.
But our dreams are going to keep reminding us that we need to do it.
Yeah.
I could see a floating bridge ahead. Even though I wasn't tired, I turned the radio on really loud and used the cold air to ensure I stayed awake for the rest of the journey. I drove the rest of the way, and when I did arrive at my destination, it was a beach-type port to the ocean, and I was boarding a boat. People had help and assistance to help them onto little dinghies that bordered the bigger floating lifeboat that was to bring us to a bigger ship. I had to use a green floating raft and wait for the water to make the distance between the raft and the lifeboat reachable, which I did.
Okay, so that last part's always nice in a dream, to see you getting to your destination. Interesting too, of course, that you're trying to get to Babies R Us, and then suddenly it isn't Babies R Us, it's something much bigger, much more, much different, and very different. And that's the way it often is. So here, the floating bridge says that you're a spiritual counselor, which is cool. That means you get help from your guides when you're counseling other people. And we see this in the dream in the next part, where the dreamer says people had help and assistance to help them get onto the dinghies in order to board the bigger floating boats. I love also the way she points out floating boats. I think most boats are floating. And a floating bridge. So anyway, it's cool. The radio represents your guides and your ability to hear them, and you're using your guides to help you stay awake. So this sleep in a dream like this is about being asleep to what life is about. And a lot of us are that way, me included. A lot of us are that way, where we don't really, for a long time, know what our life is about, or we're living it in a way we're doing a 9-to-5 job and we're saying everything's great, I'm getting the income I need, but we're not realizing that life is a spiritual journey, and we're here to increase our awareness of ourselves. And in doing that, eliminate our subconscious, I think we have it coming up in a later dream, like we all have a Jekyll and Hyde. We have a part of ourselves, a shadow self that we're meant to work on when we're here. It's shadow self in Jungian terms. There's lots of different terminology, and maybe you'll get into this, Susan, when we talk about shamanism. There's a lot of different terminology for exactly the same things, because the whole purpose of life is the same from any perspective, from any spiritual perspective that it's ever looked at. And it's just the terminology that changes. So what else have we got in this dream? Your destination is a spiritual approach, because that's what the beach port is about, to the ocean. And you're going to use your heart chakra because you're using a green floating raft, another floating reference. And that's about the dharmic path. So it's saying cutting the ties with your mom is going to get you onto the dharmic path, and a little bit of patience is required here because it tells you wait for the water. So it's spiritual work for you from here on. So if you think you're going to be working at something conventional, think again. So, questions or next dream?
So I have a dream. They've just titled it "Dream for the Radio Show." I've had a dream that stirs up some emotions every time I have this kind of dream. In this one, I'm in bed with my daughter's father. He kisses me very passionately, only to hand me some kind of toy. I ask him how we're supposed to use it, and he tells me very hesitantly that over the summer, someone else became pregnant with his child. I get out of bed and tell him to get out as I walk out of the room and into the hallway. Then I walk back into the bedroom and yell at him that not only has he had the guts to cheat on me with his current girlfriend, he's fought for shared custody of our daughter and doesn't even care about her. And now the house I was in was a house I did not recognize.
Okay, so I as with most dreams we do on the show, I wrote to the dreamer before including it here, and she has a great sense of humour. I asked her about, I forget what way I'd put it, but I asked her about pregnancy and was there another, had her daughter's father fathered another child, and she said, well, let's see, I have it here. She says, to start off, if anyone is pregnant by him, the Holy Spirit had something to do with this because he had a vasectomy a little over 6 years ago. And it goes on and on and on. Very, very comical. But anyway, the dream is really sent to allow you to vent and be angry about real issues. So quite often we find a lot of people tend to suppress anger that they should be feeling. And this is kind of strange. Like people often think that anger is an accidental emotion that we feel, but it's not. It has its purposes. But the issues are, the anger is triggered by your ex-partner's recent campaign in real life to get your daughter full-time. And the thoughts are along the lines of, how can someone I was intimate with do this to me? And we see that in the dream. So you have to realize you're right to be angry sometimes. It is not an accidental emotion. It helps us defend our space. Anger can be processed by our base chakra. Think of red with anger, and red is the colour of the base chakra. So it can be processed by our base chakra without any ill effect. And when you feel anger, visualize yourself pushing it down to your base chakra because it can be processed there. And that's effectively what your dream is doing with the intimacy at the start of the dream. So it's really just telling you that you're not angry enough about what's going on with your partner. And
Ex-partner,
yeah. And I can really feel that for you there. So nothing to do with the dream except say that it is okay sometimes to be angry because it does protect your space. You don't necessarily have to be angry at the person, but allow yourself to feel the anger, not suppress it. That's really what I'm saying. So let's have a look at another.
So this dreamer is the same dreamer as the first dream we had, just to put it into context. Starts out, my father and I, were traveling north to Canada. We entered a field where a man I didn't know was near an airplane. It looked to me to be the bare bones of a small aircraft, but I knew it was designed this way. Could have been described as one of the first Wright airplanes, but it was made out of modern-day white metal piping. All three of us boarded the plane with the owner steering. It was flown using some kind of mechanical bike-looking contraption in the center. We were flying higher and higher, and I was comfortable until I looked at my feet. I was concerned that we had to stand on the piping and hold on as best we could as there was no passenger area. After a while, the fear of falling off worsened, and I asked if we could land. I thought I'd have to argue my desire to land, but both my father and the pilot complied without question. We landed in the alleyway in the heart of one of Canada's cities. There were empty boxes placed all over the alley. After leaving the pilot and alleyway, we came to a very busy street where two young female gypsies spotted us. One gypsy offered me a reading, but I knew the girl talking couldn't channel well. I checked with my guides, and the other girl should indeed be doing the readings. I informed both of them of the other girl's gift.
It's an interesting dream. We have Canada, which is our symbol for today, but the first two paragraphs, so the first long part of the dream, is exactly the same as the little bit at the end. And quite often we see that in dreams. The message is repeated over and over. But Canada in dreams represents the dharmic path. And I feel danger saying that in a radio station with 3 Americans in the room. So Canada represents the dharmic path because it's got the same power as America in a lot of ways. But it's different if you're from a place, by the way. So if you're from America, then dreaming about America is just about you being yourself and about you discovering your identity. If you're from Canada and dream about Canada, it's the same. It's just about your identity. But if you're not from there and you're dreaming about moving to Canada, then it's about the dharmic path. And the dharmic path is a female energy, so it requires compassion and open heart. And that is one of the biggest differences between America and Canada. It has a social system that America doesn't have. You know, they look after their ill. There's various other things that they do. But the perception around the world is, if you think back to, there was a hostage crisis many, many years ago, and they sneaked the Americans that were going to be held hostage out through the Canadian embassy. So a lot of countries in the world, despite America and Canada being on the same page in so many ways, Canada is viewed in a much more compassionate giant, you could say. So, and I'm still alive. We probably have no listeners, so no, only kidding. So it's good to see it. You want to see it in your dreams. And America, for people who aren't from America, moving to America is about becoming aware. So I may as well finish on a positive, because America a lot of the New Age courses and things that you come across, they come from different countries, but they're westernized by America in a successful way, and then delivered in a way that is palatable, but still works for the rest of us Westerners. So there, I redeemed myself, I hope.
So, Michael, we did that show on the karmic path, but we haven't actually done a show yet on the dharmic path. Do you want to say a few words about what that
Well, let's do a show. Let's do it next week then. That'll give us something to talk about. But just sticking with this dream then, we entered a field. A field is about the heart in a dream. Countryside and a field are the same. Well, they're green, so represent the heart. And the dharmic path works through the heart chakra. So not surprising to see this show up in the dream. The airplane is about a project taking off, or a change in direction for this spiritual direction for this dreamer. Not a big change. The pun in the plane being one of the right airplanes, it's saying this is the right thing to do. Ta-da! And it's because you describe it as one of the first airplanes. It's a pioneering thing for you, and it's about trans-channeling. In case you're wondering, trans-channeling is where you let the spirit take the wheel, so to speak, and instead of you communicating with a spirit and telling the person in the room what they're saying, the spirit enters the channel's body. This is a bit like you see Whoopi Goldberg doing in Ghost, the movie. Hollywood really sensationalizes channeling. Very rare to come across people who do this type of channeling, but what they can get is much deeper, much more on point than...
There's no filter.
There's no filter, and they don't have to understand what they're passing on. So it's really good to see this. And like I said, it's like spirit taking the wheel. And we see this in the dream because the dreamer points out the 3 of us boarded the plane with the owner steering. So it's not now, you never have to say that. Does anybody ever say, oh, the pilot is steering the plane? No, it's because the dreamer points that out that we know that this is the important thing. And the small plane, like it's almost like a one-person plane, is the dreamer herself. Moving up to the spirit world, which is what the plane is about, or moving to a higher location, higher vibration, and making the connection with her guides. So what else have we got? With your dad, in your case, means you're working together. That's fine. And it's really a good dream. Flying with a guide, the pilot, is about channeling. We've seen that many times in dreams on the show before, so we know it's channeling from that. The owner steering, I already said. But now we get to the 2 gypsies. And 2 is also about channeling. So we have this representing channeling again, but now we see that the channeling can be done better. So we have 2 gypsies channeling, one person's doing the reading, so it's about the dreamer doing readings, but there's a better way to do it. Go further to your female side. So I would say in this dream, the second girl was further to the left if we were able to ask the dreamer where were they placed. So it's go more into your heart, out of your head, and that's how the trans-channeling works. And okay on that one. We're going to take a break now. You're listening to So You Think You're Awake.
Kick off your new year by lightening up. Join me, Susan Pullen, for a restorative weekend class focused on re-energizing and getting back in touch with who you really are. Lightening Up, Reclaiming Your Wholeness, Vitality, and Power is coming on January 9th and 10th in Edmonds, Washington. Find details and register at true-radiance.com. It's the perfect start to a fresh year.
Hello, this is Heidi. How can I help you?
You tell me. You're the psychic.
That's not how it works. I am a medium. I connect to your spirit guides and loved ones and pass on their messages to you.
So why did I call? Use the force, Heidi.
Look, I can get answers to any questions you ask. That's not a problem. They can be about anything: relationships, career, children, finances, anything.
Anything? Okay. What's my favorite color?
Dave, your mom says you're being childish.
For readings with Heidi, go to angelsontheline.com. Okay, listen up. This is important. Do you know your life purpose? Are you psychic? Do your dreams predict your future? Are you one of the X-Men? Your dreams give the answer to 3 of these questions. Find out which 3 by attending Michael Sheridan's Dream Workshop in Seattle on March 5th and 6th. Register at dream-analysis.com.
Want to hear something different from talk radio? The choice is clear. Alternative Talk, 1150 AM.
Welcome back to So You Think You're Awake with Michael Sheridan, Susan Pullen and Heidi Brooke. Our show is about dreams and their meanings, and our phone number is 425-373-5527. If you have a dream or a dream-related question. There. Heidi told me I
Or
have
if you
to
have any questions about channeling or for your guides or direction from Susan, we'd be happy to answer those.
Or a question about one of the courses. So we're going to talk about Shamanism and Soul Loss now. And I have to correct, actually, one of the ads there said a course on March 5th and 6th. Now we're going to talk about later. We've moved that course to the 22nd, 23rd and 24th of January. But we'll tell you later. So we're talking about shamanism and soul loss. So Susan, what is shamanism?
So I know ages ago you had Jackie Campbell on the show, and she's a shamanic practitioner too. But
we've never had her back. I'm only kidding. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Jackie. But it's been ages, so I thought we might touch on this again because dreams play a big role in shamanic work. So shamanism it's an earth-based, like thousands of years old approach to healing and divination. And it involves developing a relationship with helping spirits. And in the shamanic viewpoint, like the land and the animals and the plants all have spirits as well as our ancestors. So working with helping spirits that you can then call upon to accomplish work, to ask for help. And so shamanism is basically like a philosophy or like a core set of healing approaches that arose all over the world, even in places that had no contact. So in ancient Europe, in Africa, in Australia, in North America, South America, Asia, all over the globe, this same kind of set of practices and beliefs arose together. And I just think that's really fascinating.
But are they not all called shamanism in each country, are they?
Well, they're they
yes, I got her.
They are. They're shamanic cultures, but whatever it is, there are different flavors, in different tribes, in different, indigenous cultures, then it's going to have a little different flavor and they'll have their own name for it. But, yeah.
So you also wanted to talk about soul loss.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
So soul loss it's a shamanic concept. It comes from these shamanic cultures that explain like chronic low energy and some other symptoms that I'm gonna get to in a minute. So like even in our culture, we have this idea that we have like more than one aspect or part of ourselves. So I might say something like, well, part of me wants to do this, but part of me wants to do that. And so we have this concept, I think, that people here can relate to, that sort of like there's an internal committee, or like, we have more than one part of ourselves.
Right.
Right?
And soul loss refers to somebody who...
So soul loss refers to when we lose one of those parts.
And in true Irish parlance, that would be someone who's not the full shilling.
Yeah, I think when you're missing a part of yourself like that, then you do feel like you're not all here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's...
I'm joking, of course.
So I'm using soul to refer to like our vital essence. And so that's different from like our higher self that we talk about on the show, which we don't lose. We never lose. But soul can be fragmented and parts can be lost. So, yeah, how did I, did it make sense? And it relates to dreams.
I'll give you a B+.
Okay, all right. Okay. So, and it relates to dreams because, I'll get into how it might look in a dream. But one of the other symptoms of soul loss is that you can't remember your dreams. And this is not just like being out of practice, but which is, I think, the case for a lot of people. You just don't remember it because you haven't, put the intention into it. But like if you remembered your dreams up to a certain point in your life and then something happened that you can point to, and from that point on you haven't remembered any dreams, that would be like a signify soul loss.
All right.
So some of the other symptoms of soul loss would be like, I've heard some people describe it as like being an observer in their life rather than feeling like they're really participating in it fully, or like feeling like part of you is missing, or looking back on a certain event in your life and thinking like, I haven't been the same since that happened. Yeah.
Okay. I can see somebody saying they haven't felt the same since something. All right. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Often people who have soul loss also have very low energy or even like chronic fatigue because they're missing part of their like vital life energy.
I wonder, could I get away with that? Sandy asked me to put out the garbage and I say, I can't, I have soul loss.
I have to lie on the couch.
Yeah, thank you. Finally, something useful from the show.
Oh, yeah. So glad I could help with your marital...
Yeah. Stop now.
Okay. So some other symptoms of soul loss would be like chronic depression, feeling spacey, feeling just checked out, emotionally numb, addiction can show up. Let's see.
Oh, would addictions actually trigger that? Like if somebody does heavy drugs, you can see that in their aura. Their aura becomes shattered.
Yeah. So that's... I'm going to talk about the causes of soul loss, and that's using powerful drugs. Yeah. That's one of the things that can cause soul loss. When we leave our body without intention or awareness, like during surgery too, it can happen that like not all of us comes back.
Yeah, your appendix might be gone.
Right. Actually, that's part of soul recovery work in a lot of cultures is they'll retrieve lost organs and things too.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, the physical organ doesn't come back, but the energetically. Okay. Yeah.
Dear Dr. Whipple, you may be surprised to hear I'm writing to you today. Could you please locate my appendix? Sorry, you're not taking this very seriously, Susan.
Yeah.
Continue on now and tell us what are some of the symptoms. Well, you've described some of the symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah. How would I know, though, if this was an issue for me? If I was listening, how would I know?
Well, so I think if some of these symptoms might resonate for you, some of the things that we just talked about, the spaciness, the feeling like you're not really connected to your life, the really low energy, chronic low energy. Probably low immune system as well, because, again, you don't have that life force to beat off, every passing bug.
And what can you do then if you think it isn't? So you've determined it's an issue. What can you do?
Yep. So, I also wanted to add that, like, in dreams, it might show up as a character in the dream, a child or someone in the dream, maybe of your same gender, but at a younger age. And I know that this is a very common thing that can show up in dreams. And so it's not going to mean this all of the time. But it's like if you have these symptoms and this is a theme in your dreams, like a character who's 7 years old shows up in your dreams often, or you keep finding yourself at your childhood home, something like that.
Okay. But they, of course, as you said, are going to be extremely common.
Exactly.
Most
right.
dreams bring us back to childhood.
Right.
They bring us back to a particular age. But what you're saying is if you have this issue, then it will also give you these type of dreams.
It will manifest in these, with these other symptoms as well. Exactly. So, so if you feel like you might be missing a part of yourself, yeah, okay. So what do you do about it? Or how does it happen?
Well, yeah, how does it happen?
So we talked about the drugs issue and when you leave your body and you don't all come back. It's a coping mechanism that sometimes there's an experience in our life that's so painful that in order to survive it, we have to kind of check out.
Yeah.
And then not all of us comes back.
Okay, like that time when my dad got my brother an ice cream, but not me.
No.
Never happened. Never happened.
No, I mean, the things that are traumatic for us are, they're very personal. They're specific to us.
I know.
And so I don't mean to make light of your ice cream cone, but I'll buy you an ice cream on the way home to make up for that comment.
You heard that, Heidi. No, you can't make light of trauma. But a lot of people think that it's not an issue for them. They think, okay, it's so long ago, I'm okay. And it is one thing that dreams always bring you back to and say, no, it's not okay. And sometimes you'll find, working in this field, traumas are it seems to be the more severe the trauma, the more likely you are to have completely obscured it from your memory. And in cases like that, I think soul loss is a good description, because how can you not remember an abuse, for instance?
Yeah.
That went on over a prolonged period of time, and yet it's completely gone from your memory?
Well, it fits with the framework of soul loss, because it's basically like the part of yourself that carries that memory left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll also hear people saying, well, I just never go there anymore. I don't allow that to be part of my being anymore. Like, we'll literally say that if they've been really hurt or traumatized.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. And so we can send part of ourselves away like that also. Mm-hmm. Or like in times of Great Depression or suffering when we wish we were dead, we can end up sending a part of ourselves away. And also just situations where we make a decision, we choose a path in life that's really counter to our nature, our purpose.
Destructive almost. Even.
Yeah, yeah. But it could be even something like, taking a 9-to-5 job that some people would say soul-sucking, right?
Oh, yeah.
A soul-sucking job. And it's just that, like, a part of ourselves is like so disgusted that it just has to check out. And
so what can you do though? Then if you do know it's an issue or suspect it's an issue, and the suspect is, I think, quite often more frequent than the know it's an issue.
Sure, yeah.
What can you do about it?
So I know last week we re-aired that show on dream reentry.
Yeah.
And so this is one of the things you can do. If you have a dream where you suspect there's either a character who is a younger aspect of yourself, or a location where you suspect you may have lost part of yourself, you can go back into the dream with the specific intention of finding and rejoining with that other part of yourself.
And is it invigorating? I mean, this discussion sounds, and I'm trying to make it lighter, but this discussion sounds like, wow, how depressing. But I presume when you do the work, you feel very invigorated and rejuvenated and very positive. afterwards.
Well,
yes?
that's the point, is to get back your energy for life.
Right.
Right. So I think if you're feeling really like you're dragging yourself around, it makes a big difference to have more in the well, so to speak, that you can draw on, right, for your life, even just on an everyday basis.
So is this something that you cover on your course? And if you do, how much of your course is this?
Yeah, so we will be doing it this weekend on the course. I do this in individual work with people as well. But so one of the big pieces that I didn't mention yet about what to do if you think this might be an issue is if you think you might be missing a part of yourself. Sometimes we need to do that clearing work in order to make the space to bring back that other part of ourselves. Or sometimes we need to prepare ourselves for that return. And so part of the weekend is devoted to that, like making space for more of us. And then part of it is about the rejoining.
Yeah, because I would imagine a lot of it is very personal, or can be very personal. And but at the same time, there is a great sense in group work like this, because I've seen it time and time again where when people can open up in a group, it's incredibly therapeutic.
Yeah.
And they do it more easily almost than in a one-to-one, because they see they're not the only one suffering. They're not the only one who has these similar type issues. And that in itself can be very, it's not like you're like, oh, I'm glad it's happened to someone else. But it makes you realize that the world hasn't just made you a victim, and that there are ways to recover from this, because not everybody's in the same place.
Yeah, yeah. And the people in my courses generally have made some strong bonds with each other. There are some people who started taking classes with me, I think in 2008, and like they still meet together. So it's, there's that element of community too. It's nice.
Okay, excellent. What do you call your course?
Lightening Up.
Lightening Up.
Reclaiming Your Wholeness, right? That's the Reclaiming Your Wholeness, Power and Vitality. Yeah.
So you're one of these people that tries to come up with the clever titles.
Yes.
Like myself. They never work. Right, we're going to take another break, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes. Okay, listen up. This is important. Do you know your life purpose? Are you psychic? Do your dreams predict your future? Are you one of the X-Men? Your dreams give the answer to 3 of these questions. Find out which 3 by attending Michael Sheridan's Dream Workshop in Seattle on March 5th and 6th. Register at dream-analysis.com.
How clear is your vision for your life? Are you living on purpose, bringing your dreams to reality? I can help you to hear the quiet voice of your heart, guiding you in the right direction. I'm Susan Pullen with True Radiance Healing Arts. Let's talk about how you can create the life you want and be the person you were born to be. Contact me today at true-radiance.com.
Hello, this is Heidi. How can I help you?
You tell me. You're the psychic.
That's not how it works. I am a medium. I connect to your spirit guides and loved ones and pass on their messages to you.
So why did I call? Use the Force, Heidi.
Look, I can get answers to any questions you ask. That's not a problem. They can be about anything: relationships, career, children, finances, anything.
Anything? Okay. What's my favorite color?
Dave, your mom says you're being childish.
For readings with Heidi, go to angelsontheline.com.
More talk, less rock. Come on, that's a good thing. Alternative Talk, 1150 AM.
Welcome back. You're listening to So You Think You're Awake with Michael Sheridan, Susan Pullen and Heidi Brooke. And again, in the ad break, it talks about a course on March 5th and 6th. But I have finally persuaded Heidi to do a course to teach people how to channel. And we have lots of people who have asked us, or asked her via me, to do that by writing into the show. So when we were talking about it, and this is only like 1 day ago, 2 days ago at most,
Yes.
when she finally said yes, I was trying to pick a date, and she said, how about January 22nd? And I said, that's not enough time to tell anybody. And she said, but it needs to be because I'm going to have a baby after that. So
Well-
Heidi is not just pregnant, she's very pregnant. And in fact, that actually sounds funny because that's binary, isn't it? You're either pregnant or not pregnant.
No, I think that's appropriate. That's how I feel.
So we wanted the course to happen before she has the baby, and the baby girl is due at the end of this month.
Yep, on the 29th. So exactly a week after the course.
So she's going to do channeling on Friday the 22nd. So it's a 3-day course now. So it's going to be communication from your guides and dreams and readings from Heidi as well.
Yeah, and we'll cover the different levels of communication, healing, are you a healer, tapping into energy, and setting up protections, which I think a lot of people, well, it is very important, but a lot of people have asked me about how do I set up protections. So this will be done during the course. You won't just learn how to do it, but it will be done. You will leave with protections.
All right. And they'll also know what type of channel they are. Oh, and an interesting one is you said how do I tell people to, without turning them off, to not eat fish or meat for 5 days before the course?
Well, just walked into it now. Yeah, so I was a bit worried about because one of the requests, rather, on the spirit plane is it's much easier to reach a meditation vibration if you're not putting toxins into your body. And one of the huge ways we put toxins into our body is through the meat we eat. I mean, we as humans eat processed food, but the food that our animals eat is way more processed than what we eat. And then it goes through processing itself after that. So it is something that wouldn't necessarily be required, but
you're going to get a better
You're going to
experience.
get a much better connection and a lasting connection.
And I had that experience before. I went on a course last year. Yeah, everything's last year now. And I didn't eat meat for months beforehand. And the different level that you can achieve when you do that. I also didn't have sugar. That was very hard for me. Stocks and Pepsi went down.
What's really interesting about changing your diet and channeling, or not even that, or even remembering your dreams, is even when that's not on the person's agenda, when they clean up their diet, it seems to be a really easy way for people to, the show is called So You Think You're Awake, a really easy way for people to wake up. It's like they clean up their diet and a couple of weeks later, or even a couple of days later, it's like I can suddenly see spirits. I can suddenly hear my guides.
Yeah, you get a lot of energy when you look after your diet. Now, the course is kind of complex because there's two of us involved in it, but everything dovetails into everything else. But there are actually two courses in one. So somebody could just do the channeling component, and it's on the website, dream-analysis.com. If you go there, click on that homepage, there'll be sections to it. So it varies from $195 to $495.
And you were saying, Michael, if you have done the dream course before, there's a reduced rate if you want to do both.
Seriously reduced, yes.
And
so
and the dream course, doing it a second, even a third time, you do get a lot more out of it.
a lot of people have done it 3 times.
Yeah, that course is so packed with information, it would be hard to absorb it all in one.
Yeah. So anyway, if you have any questions, people can call us after the show. Do you have a number that you want to give people for that, or email?
Yes, of course. 206-673-1074. Although I'm just thinking what voicemail I have set up on that. Please ignore the voicemail until I change it. But leave a message.
But it is a sort of thing. Definitely the channeling. I mean, I can say dreams and people have an idea about dreams. But channeling is definitely something you could have questions about and want to know in advance. What am I covering? What should I do? How should I prepare?
Or you can email with questions at alk.heidi@gmail.com.
So this is something to take advantage of because we've been trying to persuade Heidi to do this for years. And no having the baby early to get out of this.
I'll tell her.
Okay, so let's get back to dreams.
Okay, so I have one here entitled Spaceship Trade Show. I'm at a weekend trade show booth in Vancouver with my colleague, Alexandre. In reality, he was my roommate for a few months 2 years ago, and he worked in sales. We're working with a space travel company, and there's a large white spaceship parked behind us in the booth. 3 tall astronauts in white spacesuits appear at the booth. They've just returned to Earth. 1 is a woman and 2 are men. We're chatting and I'm shaking their spacesuit gloved hands. We're busy lecturing on space travel. I've cleaned some laundry and I'm about to hang Alexander's shirt on the spaceship as a joke, but changed my mind. It's crowded and everyone's chatting and smiling. However, the astronauts decide to take leave halfway through the trade show and leave us to keep doing the promoting at the booth. I'm a tiny bit annoyed and wish I was an astronaut too, so I could come and go as I please, but I'm stuck at the booth. After the astronauts leave, I can't find my purse and then realize it's sitting on a chair at the admin booth beside us. I'm relieved that the people could be trusted. I go to lift my purse and it's tangled with something. A lady at the booth smiles, unties it, then hands it to me.
Okay, it's a very simple analysis. I mean, because there's a part I'm completely skipping and I've blacked out pieces of it as they were reading. So the space travel is about astral activities and connecting with guides. And the white is about being controlling and having a should-be attitude towards that. So the dreamer is being told that she's here to promote people getting in touch with the guides and doing astral activities. She's a hypnotist in reality. And so she's in the right field, but she's here to promote it, get people to, you were talking about getting people to a meditative state. She regresses people, gets them to a state where they can communicate with the guides and the guides do all the work. Well, they do the work through her and in that state. So that's what she's doing. And this dream is about her kind of like being a bit miffed that she's the one on the earth plane in this setup. And she'd like to be actually one of the guides, and she could easily have been, but she's thinking, okay, it's much easier because they can come and go as they please, whereas I'm stuck here manning the booth and trying to promote things. But that's exactly what she's here for, and she's agreed to do. She's going to promote, get herself out there. And a lot of people think that because I'm doing something in the spiritual field, it's just all the doors are going to fly open for me and everything will work perfectly for me. And that isn't the way it is. Because a lot of what we're going to learn about ourselves and our own growth and awareness is in the obstacles that we encounter trying to get our life path going. Anyway, so she's here to do that. The purse is about she has a responsibility to do this. I mean, it's the admin booth. The purse is over at the admin booth. And this lady at the booth that smiles and unties it and then hands it to her. So her responsibilities are a bit tangled with her mom. So she has issues with her mom that she could deal with, and that'll improve. So any questions about anything that I've glossed over? Because I've glossed over lots in that one.
Is there anything significant, or did you say it about the gloved hand?
No, and I cut out other bits. Yeah, there is. It's that she doesn't have the contact that she normally would have with these beings. So she would typically have been one of them up there playing harps and talking to people when people channel them and so on. So she misses that contact and would like that. And that's in fact what a lot of the dream is about. There's another huge element to the dream that's about her and her ex-colleague. But so there's other parts in there that don't fit the rest of the theme, and I'm not covering those parts.
Okay.
But I know you'll communicate with the dreamer.
Oh, she does. Yeah. We want to stay on air.
Yeah. Okay.
So, what have you got next?
This is called Snakes in India. We were in India. It was a hot, sunny day. There were 4 dead cobras on a grassy area, lined up to compare their lengths. I did not want to look very long because my 5-year-old son was with us, and I did not want him to realize they were dead because he loves snakes in waking life.
And that's crazy. Always look for dead snakes in your dreams, people. Never go, oh, no, they're not alive. Now, there are exceptions. Snakes can actually be about counselling and healing, but rarely. But yeah, you want them to be dead.
My father took my son to another dirt area of the same enclosed park to see living cobras moving freely on the dirt. My father goes over to the side to talk to someone and allows my son to go see the snakes on his own. My son is so excited, he gets down on the dirt and is bitten by 4 or 5 standing cobras. He dies. The other kids notice and pull the snakes off. My father is morphed into my husband's mother, and I'm trying to get her attention to go help my son. My son is placed in a small, flat paper bag, and he is shrunk to the size of a doll.
Okay, so the dreamer says she was very disturbed by this dream when she woke up, and you can imagine she was. This dream is a health warning, which is why I said you want the snakes to be dead. And the 4 dead cobras is good. And it shows that a health condition has been dealt with because they're dead, and that's what we want to see in a dream. However, not wanting to see them dead is not great. Never good in a dream. So this would be a classic one. I would go in and re-enter this dream and kill the living cobras. They're in the dirt, so we know it's about the health of her colon. That's what it's really going to be about. But she needs, so it's not about her son dying, never is. It's about her at the age 5 and her needing to deal with issues with her dad at that age. And dealing with those issues are going to restore her male side. So it's like her male side died at that age. And the male side has to do with confidence, belief in yourself, feeling worthy of the space you occupy and things like that, you know. Morphing is about the effects from the issue with dad are still present in your life today, so they're still there. And the intention of using your son in this dream is twofold, and it's a very common thing that dreams do, use our children. It's to show you the age of the issue, the age you need to go back to. Now, of course, you're not going to be able to look back and say, okay, I know clearly everything that went on at age 5. So whatever therapy you decide to use to work with this has got to work on childhood issues. So that's really important. You can't look at it with your adult eyes and say, oh, it's all okay, I can see it now, and the man had issues himself and so on. It doesn't work like that at all. You have to, the therapy would have to work on a 5-year-old if a 5-year-old was sitting opposite you now. And if it doesn't, then it's not going to work for you, even though you're an adult now. And that's why I always promote cutting the ties, because it works at every age. And the second reason for including your son is that the love of your son should push you to do something about this to try heal this. So the fact that you woke up distraught after this dream, the intention is for you to say, what could that possibly be about? I need to do something because I'm not going to let anything happen to my son. And of course, everything in the dream is you. So it's all about you healing the issues that are about you and restoring that side of your nature.
So I have a couple questions for you on this dream.
Yes.
So I'm wondering about, he shrinks to the size of a doll, and I'm wondering if that's like she shrank,
in stature or...
No, in like metaphorically, like, like we say, I shrank back.
Yes. It can be that too, but it can also be to say, look, these issues can be made smaller. They're not, you're still carrying them around. They're not as big as they used to be, but they're still there. You're still carrying them. And of course, in the dream, you're saying, oh, well, it's my son. Of course, I'm going to carry around my son. But it's saying, okay, so you probably already got therapy for this, but there's still something that needs to be looked at. There shouldn't be anything like this in your dreams. And the health warning, if you've already had a serious health condition and you've gotten through that, you're a survivor, then it's going to show up in your dreams again like this, or can show up in your dreams again like this. It's very, very common. So if that's the case, then you don't need to be too worried about the health side of it, but you still need to look at the issue with your dad, which is the cause. That's really the root reason for ever developing the health issues that are connected with this issue.
I'm wondering also about, she says the cobras are lined up to compare their lengths, and I'm wondering if this is someone who has a tendency to compare herself to other people. Possibly
because of the issues she's got. And I'm looking forward now to pick another dream that's short. So we've got this one here. Will I read it out since now you have it? Go ahead.
It's called Film Production Outside My Bedroom Window.
We'll finish on something positive.
I was in my bed, asleep or napping, and some noise outside my window got my attention. I looked out and could see a film under production on my back porch. I don't know if it was because of the screen, but even when the actors and crew members were very close, they didn't seem to notice I was there, and I was a little worried that if they actually noticed me being there, I would be in trouble. The production went on for quite some time, and I woke up.
All right, so this is a really nice dream. First of all, it says you're waking up to the reality of life. It is an enactment designed to help you grow in awareness. So you see the film crew outside. They don't notice you. So others not noticing you highlights that others are still asleep. So you're starting to wake up, but other people aren't necessarily going to wake up, and that's okay. But it's a really excellent dream. It's a dream I would love to have. What are your gifts? You're a channel because of the actors that show up in the dream. And you're also psychic because of the fact that you look out the window and see this through the window. So they're your two abilities. And I don't know if we'll fit another dream in at this point, but I did want to say that we have, I've written a new book. It comes out on January 17th. So if you want to get that for free, so where do you hear that? Go to dream-analysis.com, enter your email address into that page, and I will send you a link on the 17th when it's available on Amazon. And it'll only be available for free for a few days. So please do get on that one now. Heidi, you were saying something else?
Saying it's called My Journey to Awakening.
Oh, yeah.
We know the name of it, but you guys might want to know.
Yeah, and it's very humorous. My Journey to Awakening, lessons shared to amuse, uplift, and inspire you to follow your life purpose. So lots of humour in it. If you've been listening to the show, you might have heard some. So we're going to leave it at that. We want to say thank you to our producer and engineer, Eric Ryder. Thanks to Susan Pullen, Heidi Brooke. Thanks to you for listening and for sending your dreams. Do remember, send them to radioshow@dream-analysis.com. And until next week, I had a quote that I have lost. So I'm going to leave it at that, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Thanks.